So my friend Lucas, fellow team rider for Pal Peralta, just dropped a full part. They dropped it on Thrasher. There's a lot, like I was just going through some of the comments, just a good bit of comments comparing him to Nyjah, or being like, one of the comments was literally like, oh, Nyjah dropped another part, which I think is kind of amusing. I don't think they have anywhere near the same style. I think that they're just like a not white person who skates in basketball shorts sometimes and does these tricks that are like, okay, how can I explain this? I think the type of skating that Lucas does is the hardest type of skating to have a career in, because it's a type that all of the best skaters are kind of going for. So great example of being able to get around this is, I'm not like relevant in the skateboarding world because of what I can do on a skateboard, but I have done things that have like gotten attention based on like my skill, but it's because I'm always off the beaten path. Like I'll just be doing tricks that no one else bothered to do. And I think a lot of the excitement in skateboarding comes from shock value. So there's like a lot of skaters, like Louis Burletta is a good example of someone who has a lot of insanely memorable tricks. Some as simple as like just dragging his wheel nuts against a wall, to fakey frontside sail flips, to the board slide run down the rail board slide. Tricks that are really etched into us millennials' brains. And not a lot of people remember the fact that he switch backsmith the handrail and was like 180 switch crooking handrails before like just about everyone. Not only was he good at some of the creative stuff, but he was also good at the mainline stuff and was the first for a couple things. And if you go even further back to like, maple skateboards and stuff like that, he's always just been an extremely gifted skater. But the stuff that stood out for him was the creativity stuff. And I'm pointing that out just to say, to try the mainline tricks, or like the tricks that I guess you'd say that were the obvious hard tricks, is very hard to get attention from because so many people are doing it. And it's hard to do it on something gnarlier than everyone else, especially when everyone's filming at the same time and you're not sure what other video parts are going to come out before you. And stair counts are pretty much dead these days, so it's harder than ever. Like before, it was like, okay, this guy nollie heel flip nose slid this little 6 stair rail. I'm gonna nollie heel flip nose slide this 9 stair rail, and it's gonna be like a big difference. But now we're in this weird place where it's like, I've seen tricks that the shock value wasn't as exciting because I saw it on like a skate park rail. And the difference between doing it on a skate park rail and a street rail is extremely high, but like the shock value has kind of been like taken away. The win from the sails has been taken out. So yeah, it's almost like a lot of these kind of skaters that were people who would be like, riding for Girl back in the day, or Foundation when it was peaking. Skaters that were doing like the hardest tricks on the best spots are now sort of transitioning into like what would be contest skating. They're doing those tricks down exaggerated rails in a contest first try, which kind of brings some of the excitement back. Because to do it in the streets, you just really have to do some crazy shit. Like Nyjah's last part that I think he dropped, what was that, 2 years ago now? There's so much stuff in that if you go back and rewatch it, like every single trick, if 4-on-1 was still relevant, every single trick in that part would have been like an opener. Like all the tricks were just ridiculous. So I just think like for a skater to compete in that space, you have to be something pretty special. I think Lucas, especially because I know what he's sitting on that's not on this video part, he has another project. Like he has this part we're gonna watch is really good. He has like other stuff that's like better. And I know like a couple tricks that he's like tried on spots that one of them I don't know if he's gonna be able to get because he got broke the fuck off, but it's insane. And then other stuff, it's just like, he just has to find the right spot for it, and it's going to be like stuff that people talk about. So I'm not saying this is throwaway. I'm just saying he finished his project and he's already getting better stuff. If you're unfamiliar with him, he's been in my YouTube videos for a minute. There's a trick in here that I filmed him learn, and then he does it on a handrail in here, which we'll get to. But yeah, we're just going to do a quick little review. Then yeah, talk a little bit about skateboarding and Lucas as we go through it. So here we go. Okay, so it's on Thrasher, obviously. Hollywood 16. I actually have some stuff to say about him trying this because I was there for this. He went back twice, or 3 times. He went back 3 times for this. And there's interesting story behind it. Okay, so this rail right here is the handrail. That's normal handrail high. This banister on top is really, really tall. Anything like I think I've seen someone use a back overcrook on this rail, like a pro skater use a back overcrook on this rail. I'm not gonna say it sucks because it's like a decent rail. It's just massive and scary, and anything on it's cool. And this trick, I've seen him do on bump the rails, and it was interesting when someone told me that he did it on a street rail because I just pictured like a cookie cutter one, not this massive one. But yeah, over rotate to switch 5-0, kind of. I don't know what we're calling that trick. What are we calling that trick? Because I know backside people are calling it the sushu grind. Like if you do back nose one over rotate, I don't know what that one's called. First one I actually saw do that trick was Nyjah. Tray flip nose blunt on this. I think I was actually there for the tray flip nose blunt. Maybe not. Remember when like tray flip nose blunt was like the biggest deal in the entire world? Like Eric Costin did it. And now it's like so many skaters can do it. I seen him do this trick on skate park rails first try. Also, actually, when we were in New York City, there was the rail that Chris Cole had tray flip nose blunt on in his zero part. Lucas was like doing them for fun, just dorking around. But like I think he like stuck it second try and then just kept sliding them. Oh yeah, and then he was trying a trick that I can't talk about. Oh man, he might want to go back to this reel for that. But yeah, he just like was just like, it doesn't matter. Like he just didn't care. He didn't care about trying something that insane. Honestly, the one in Delaware, or not Delaware, New Jersey, he was trying the triple nose one. I think cooler than this one. He has like a very classic bag of tricks, but he has some spicy stuff. I love this kickflip board side. I think kickflip backside board side, or as I call it, the Ed Duff, is a kind of an underrated trick. Kickflip front board side to me is less impressive for some reason. Like if someone front boards a really big rail, I'm like, that was sick. But if someone kickflip front boards versus kickflip backboards a rail, for some reason I prefer the backside. I think it's just because it's like a guaranteed sack, and you can kind of, I don't know if you do kickflip front boards ever, but I feel like there's like a way to like tap and get out of it a little bit safer. But I feel like with kickflip backboard, you're pre-committed. Kind of like, it's easier to sack a rail on a backside nose slide than a frontside nose slide because like you can keep your body weight diagonal, whereas like backside you get all the way on top. I don't know why that is. Oh man, kickflip crook. He has a kickflip crook for his next part. It's really sick. His flip in game, especially the nose slides, you know I'm a big nose slide fan, is pretty ridiculous. I don't like back field to back Smiths, but since that one was like had so much like danger element and had the bear trap at the end, I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it though. And the front field to front Smith, I kind of feel the same about it. You can feel differently. That rail is insane. If you've ever been to it, it's at UC Irvine, and pretty much Heath Kirchhardt's entire sight unseen is at this college. This rail is really, really, really gnarly. And I think it was Jamie Thomas who 50-50 through the kink, which was pretty ridiculous. But of course, most memorable trick ever, Heath Kirchhardt back lip and lands with his back truck in the dirt and rides away anyways because he's Heath Kirchhardt. Okay, so this. I have a video where we go to a skate park and he learns heel flip frontside tail slides. He's never done one before on anything. And he learns it down the little skate park hubba, and like we have a conversation about it. I was like, oh, I've never seen you do that before. And he's like, yeah, I've never done it before. But when I do it down stuff, you have enough air time to have more time to play with a flip in trick, so I feel safer. So logically, that makes sense if you're not scared of the dangers of going down something, because impact's greater, you can get hurt a lot easier. It must be nice to be that confident to use air time as a learning tool, because I think a lot of people like the A-frame rails because it gives you more floaty time. I hate bump the rails that are slanted or A-frames. It just feels too unrealistic. But it lets you play with stuff, but he just does it down spots. So evidently, right after that, though, he went and got this heel flip front tail on a hubba in the streets. So that must be nice. I've never seen him flip his board twice, so that was kind of this. Okay, so I wish that there was another angle of this from the side. The issue with this is that thing is this wide. So when you go to lip slide, if you accidentally lock like a Smithy pinch on the other side, it's going to want to stick. And also if you lock like lip slidey where it's like a ledge and then it pops like the kind of, which it does on him, seems super sketchy, super dangerous. We went there not that long ago. My friend Cody Howell did like 185-0 back to forward and stuff like that. And I think someone else was trying something else. But I remember they were like, oh yeah, Lucas did kickflip front lip on it. And I was like, I think you got the trick wrong. Because the run up, you drop on a piece of wood and it's like 3 sidewalk blocks the size of where this crack is right here. Run up, it's not a lot. It's a pretty tough spot to skate. And it seemed like the trick that you wouldn't think of for this spot. Like he literally picked a trick that he has, but it is not built for this thing. And yeah, I think it's, in my opinion, the best trick ever done on that thing. And it's been kickflip front crooked. And kickflip front crooked definitely trumps kickflip front lip, but because of the shape and size, I think kickflip front lip's the best thing ever done on it. First person to trick in and trick out on this thing. Okay, let me flex on you really quick. So this hubba is absolutely massive. Let me see if we can get like an angle of him like standing right before he pops. Let's go back frames. So yeah, it's shoulder high at the top, and the hubba actually starts going down just before the stairs. So if you're going 2 full hard push, like a run and drop and then 2 real pushes. That's the speed that you need to get on. That's how far you have to gap out. You really have to gap the first maybe like, I mean, you can see right here. Like if you go, what is this, 6 stairs out? I mean, this is impossible to actually do. It's tall everywhere you go. I have 50-50 of this hubba. When I was young, I forget what trick I wanted to do. I think I thought I wanted to front hurricane it because I used to be, that was like when I was really getting into like hurricaning taller stuff. And for whatever reason, hurricane's a little bit more comfortable in tall stuff. I went there thinking that I was going to hurricane it. And I remember when I got there, I was just like, oh, there's no way. But there was like a session going on and some kid was trying, I want to say someone was trying nollie tail slide or something like that. And there's a really shitty crack at the top. So I just remember being like, you're nollying through that crack. It's ridiculous. And I got super hyped up and I 50-50'd it. And I was like, my front truck kind of like missed. So it was, I mean, I didn't front feeble it, but you know what I mean? Like I kind of like rode on it and I did it. The impact, you land downhill, like you land on like a little hill bomb thing. The impact is still like, you feel it. Like it's like, this is a big drop. Like once again, this is handrail high right here. It's this, anything done on this hub is ridiculous. Like front blunts and stuff like that were getting used for enders and stuff like that. Like it's a ridiculous hubba. So to flip in, slide, and then trick out, once again, in my opinion, yeah, is this best trick ever done on it? I'm also kind of partial to what's his name, Corey Duffel back lipping it because it's once again it's a wide thing. But yeah, this. Oh, another random thing, Nick Dompierre had cover of backside nose blunt on this thing, and he never did it. He had a cover of Transworld, didn't. They just ran it, and then it wasn't until years later, and I'm not positive who it was. Was it Corey Glick? I think it might have been Corey Glick, like went and back nose blunt it years later. Someone else went and back nose blunt it years later. And then I remember like being like, wait a second, that's right, Nick Dompierre's never even came out. So yeah, that happened a lot. I've also seen skaters fake sequences and not land it, and I've seen it run in magazines, but that's a story for another day. Oh yeah, that's pretty brutal. Yeah, you land downhill. What else is it? Okay, so this trick, I like that they use a sandbag because the rail's so wobbly. Another thing about this is like, I'm surprised. I get it because it's not a steep rail and he wants a 270 out, and like the height might make it a little bit less hard to spin out. But there's better rails for this trick. This is at Riverside College, the college that we've been going to a lot. I'm pretty sure that's where it's at. I'm like 95% sure. I've skated it before. Yeah, that's crazy. Nyjah did Trifla 5.0 on that, right? Yeah. There's a 10-stair version of it right next to it, and the 10-stair version's like a 12-stair because the stairs are really long. But yeah, I'm surprised that he did this trick on it. Also, he has another trick that might actually work for the rail, but I think that rail's gone. This tray flip lip was first try. Okay, so fun fact. I think people hear that this tray flip lips first try, and I wish that they would have showed that the other tries. So this is first try that day. He went there and just roasted it. I think initially he tried impossible lip slide and sacked the rail and got like broke off. And then he went back another time and then tried tray flip lip and sacked it. I'm not sure if both sacks were impossible lips or if one was impossible lip or one was tray flip lip. But I went there one day after he had sacked the rail and he was just like trying to get himself hyped for it. And he was lip sliding that rail like it was a flat bar. And like to get himself hyped, he was like cricking it and back 50ing it and smithing it. And he was actually, there's a video on my channel somewhere where I'm at this spot with a bunch of them, side crooks it and feebles and stuff like that. And they're just sessioning it for fun. But even after jumping on the rail that many times, like he was just like, yeah, I can't do it. Like it wasn't like, he wasn't like at the top of the stairs like, oh my God. He was just like, yeah, no, not today. Like I'll know when the day comes. And then he went there like a little bit later. And then DeVille was just like, yeah, he did it first try. He just did a couple tricks up flat, one top, a couple flat ground tray flips, jumped on the rail once, and then just like, just flipped the tray flip lip, did it first go. So yeah, that's Lucas's part. He gets on this rail so high. So, I mean, he's probably gapping, 4 or 5 stairs out. The rail isn't low. Like, it's a perfect rail, but it's not low. He scooped that tray flip up good. Lucas's parts that are going to be coming out, or at least his next part that's going to be coming out, and I know he's going to have stuff in the next Thrasher thing that we're doing with Pal Peralta's doing with Thrasher. It's going to be a little bit different, though. Is going to be really good. And I think he will be, interestingly, I think he will be a skater that is taking that mainline approach to skating that people will be talking about, because I know the other stuff that he's capable of, and I know the stuff that he's sitting on. Like, I think he's going to be like one of the dudes. I don't know if he's going to go like the skate park contest route, like a lot of these guys are doing, because one, it's a great way to get paid, and two, it's exposure. I don't know how Street League's doing though. I don't know how its viewership is. I honestly never watch Street League. I don't know. I'm not a big contest guy. I think I get it, like the format makes sense and stuff like that, but I've just never really cared too much to watch contests. I would watch like the combi contests every once in a while. I think I like transition contests more actually. So I remember watching the Vans Triple Crown and thinking that was fun to watch. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be sick if he could get in there and get paid. But I could see him getting a name on a board at some point in time. Maybe in not the craziest far future. But I don't know. What do you think? I do know who's turning pro next, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, that's my buddy Lucas. Absolute sweetheart. He's a funny guy. He's pretty mellow. I saw him the day after his video part came out at La Puente, and he was skating super hard, and he was actually skating what I think is his new sponsor, but I'm sure he'll announce that when that time comes. I'll link his Instagram, and shout out to his homie Ella for getting a camera and filming a bunch of these clips. I think his like filmer like had to go do something, or he was like on a trip or got hurt or something. And so yeah, she just like picked up the camera and she just filmed like a bunch of his bangers. So that's shout out to you. I'm not a big fan of talking videos. It's raining for the next 5 days. I'm currently planning a trip to go to Arizona with my friends to try to get out of it for a couple of days. So we'll see how well that balances out. There'll be a lot more actual skating in probably tomorrow's video. So if you want to listen to me yap, wait a day. Or just go to thrasher.com and watch their videos, because it's all just really good skating and no talking.